Welcome back. You're watching The Big Conversation, and today we're shedding light on something far too many women experience: discrimination simply for being single. A friend recently shared how she was denied an apartment because the landlord insisted on seeing her husband. True story. Not her ID. They should have asked for her ID. Nope. But they asked for her husband. Not proof of income. Nope. But her husband. So let's talk and let's ask the hard questions. Why does society still attach a woman's respectability to marital status? What assumptions are made about single women? That they are reckless, unstable, or morally suspect? And how does this affect everything from job opportunities to renting a home to getting a loan? Join us as our guest comes on board. She is Omodolakpo Jayola, the director of Go Women Africa and the brain tank behind the Affluent Women's Brand, a branding agency. And she stands as a fervent advocate for the girl child education. Her organization, Go Women Africa, is dedicated to fostering women's representation in leadership roles, underpinned by her extensive background in charity and youth empowerment initiatives. Hello, Dolakpo. Good to have you here.
Hi, Ronnie.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Finally. Thank you for
I know.
having me.
With all you're doing, sometimes you come across as if you're a shy person. Please tell me you're not shy, because you're doing so much at the forefront for women.
I think it's a balance of both here.
Yeah.
I'm an ambivert. I like to call myself that because then sometimes I'm whole out and most times I enjoy my privacy.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. And I think, this conversation we're having, I like that you represent women a lot.
Yeah.
I like this conversation because, I don't know, I think I've had my fair share of, I'm what you consider as married late.
Okay.
So and I know this is my eye. Let me do, sorry. This is my eye. So, before, that MRS.
Yeah.
So and that's why I've always been just very particular about ensuring I'm very open about giving grace to younger single people, checking in with single people and trying to find out, are you okay? Because why is Africa so hostile to the single women? Funola?
Like you said, what your eyes saw.
Funola's eye too has seen.
I have a friend that once wrote it on Facebook that, she went to the bank and someone asked for her name and she said, Mrs. Do. And the person looked at her and she was like, do you know what I went through?
To get this MRS.
To get this title. Honestly, the reason why I'm not flaunting it.
Where's your ring, Funola? How dare you?
Oh,
Lord. Really? After all you've been through?
So I think that you didn't mention...
Just joking, by the way. Yeah,
you didn't mention something about... You didn't mention visa interview.
Really?
Most times you are denied, visas
because they say you don't have a strong support.
There's no tie, that you don't have any tie. And I'm like, okay, so in your village or in your country or wherever, are there no single women, who chose to be single?
Yes.
Is it that, did they take anything away from them?
Right.
Thank God I'm married. But the experience is better,
when you're married.
Better. No. Okay. The experience is better heard than felt because it is truly shaggy. People will not respect you. Drivers, staff, your staff. I know I used to have an agency, a marketing agency that two of my staff, they were misbehaving. I had to call a friend.
Wow.
To come and let me talk to them because they will respect him more than me.
Oh my goodness.
If a man is shouting at a man, a fellow man, nobody will say anything. But if you're a woman, you are shouting at a man, you are disrespectful.
Okay, this story is, I know it's a big one, but Dolakpo, I know you were at one time shared with me, what happened when you were trying to get an apartment as well.
I was going to say that was my story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate. Of course, it's just a lot out there. Knowing that sometimes you're not even sure why that's the perspective that they share and that's what their opinion is, right? But then you just have to flow with it. That's what I then,
But we have to flow with it. Flowing with it, is it not... because I always think about the things I accept and things I don't accept. And I'm not just thinking about myself. A lot of times I turn some things into scattering the tables? Because I realized that I want to make it easier for
I wanted
people.
to say mechanisms. Yeah,
Yes.
there are mechanisms of flowing with it. It's not that you just accept it.
Okay.
You know, it's just going to be like, there's going to be that time of bass boost, like that kind of crazy that you kind of put in just to ensure that, you know, I don't accept this. This is not acceptable. I know the apartments I wanted to do, the present one I'm actually in right now. Before I could get it, that was the same situation.
Wow.
Yes. Can we meet your husband? You know, that kind of thing. And can he sign? If you can't sign, can you video call us? That kind of thing. Yeah, you know. So that's why when I say you flow with it, you just kind of like put in mechanisms and find a way to ensure that, well, you know, this house, I'm getting this house. I have my eye on it, you know, I'm definitely getting it. So, and then you kind of put in, but then if you want to go against, because this was a woman, can I tell you that?
Wow.
Yeah, that woman was actually, you know, she actually took me by surprise. She's a lawyer, she's a pastor, and, you know, when she gave all those criteria, like I said, I run an NGO. Don't you believe that I can afford this? You know, it was like, it's not about you being able to afford it, you know, sustainability. How do you pay for the next one? And I'm like, okay.
So they think that a woman
do you think a man can just all of us automatically afford house rent just because?
Yeah. You know, it's just like this actress that, you know, that the one that went viral recently. I don't want to mention name for having acquired so much wealth, properties, a car, and then, you know, like, are you supposed? You don't look like you should be able to afford that by yourself since you're not married, and also a woman. Technically, a lot of people actually believe that women cannot afford certain things, and then they try to tie it to men, our accomplishments, you know, and it's so sad because women go all the way to be all of those things, and then still there has to be a man in that corner.
Yes,
right. I wanted to ask, when does it start? I know that when you're still 21, people still, I know this in 2025, the bar has sort of, the pressure has started earlier than when, because I know at 25 I wasn't feeling that much pressure, but I see 22-year-olds who are already, when are you bringing?
So sometimes people also try to, you know,
put pressure on themselves.
Yeah. Right. I know people that when we were in school, they were so, I mean, so for example, I did not feel any pressure until maybe towards where maybe towards close to 40, where I've never experienced that. Okay. When I was turning 30, I used to tell people that I was just traveling, you know, around, you know, taking pictures, enjoying myself. I wasn't even bothered about marriage, you know. So until maybe I still was not really bothered about marriage until, you know, until I married, you know, I was I was thinking about, you know, having my own children, you know. So that was the only thing that I was thinking about, but not, you know.
I want just to say, I don't think it's about the age. You understand? I don't think it's when, because we have some people that they are 18 and they already they want to settle.
Yes, they want.
So I think
I know people that
are normal.
Yes.
Because what do you know at 18?
At it, of course.
So they think they don't want to become spinsters like us.
They don't want to like us, exactly. Spinsters like us. Because they're supposed to be like the bad example.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
yes.
Once you eat 30, you're that bad as
exactly. That people also say, you know, like in the intro, you said something about, you know, people start suspecting you that there's something fundamentally wrong with you. Now that's why you are not married.
Yes.
Do you get it? Someone wrote I was in a group on Facebook. A man said, okay, they said the man was not married, maybe at the age of 42 or thereabout, and come and see how people were dragging the mother. That's a red flag. Don't marry this man.
So men should
42.
also go through
Oh, they do. So don't marry that man. Oh, you are, you know, I think the man was 42. The lady he wanted to marry was about 28. So it was like, oh, he left all his kiniko, and, you know, he's looking for someone that he can control, you know. So they say, and I'm like, who's 42 for a man? I mean, my husband was 46 when we got married, and he had never been married before.
Wow.
And I got married at the age of 42, you know, and I had never been married before. Now, you cannot say that. So, and I said, what about a woman that, you know what someone said?
Yes.
Said, what's wrong with the person? People don't believe that you are okay.
Yes.
That's
well, maybe because I want to say, because most of the time I'm also thinking, why is a guy that's 42? Because you are, most of in Africans, the man has the first pick. It's us ladies that have to wait. So if a lady is still 42 and hasn't married, most of the time I'm like, what do you want her to do? Do you want her to go and
many reasons?
But when a man has not, I'm thinking, what is the issue?
I've had
that mindset as well.
Some people have also told me that, oh, okay, are you very picky?
Yes.
And
They
so,
ask you,
yeah,
yes.
so they will say that, so you can't know, we don't know.
I agree.
This thing happens.
I agree,
You
but
know,
I also
people
would,
told me
yes.
that, oh, it's because you are picky. Oh, you are looking for someone that is this. You are looking for someone. Are you saying that, oh, every day there is nobody that asks you out? Are you
Yes.
saying, so they will save that for a woman. So what if the man did not find someone that he wanted?
No, I want to-
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about some of your, because you mentioned visa, and I didn't even think about that.
Yes.
Maybe because I
that
didn't think
part
about
is
really.
very
I didn't think
big.
about that. I just felt like, okay, maybe because maybe your account statements, obviously they look at how much you have in your account. But I do remember now that I got a rejection when I was single. But I didn't realize it was because I was married. I just thought, okay, maybe my account statement did not share enough that I had enough.
So the last time I applied for Schengen visa,
Yes.
I know. So
Right.
I had about 4 million naira in my account. I obviously have a good job.
Yes.
I showed them everything.
Wow.
And I showed them that I was going, and I was supposed to go on holiday with my boyfriend. You know, then. So they rejected it, and I know that was the
Wow.
reason. Said I could not provide them with
Enough,
enough proof.
yes.
You know that I
will not
had a
run
tie.
away. Yes.
That I had a
Somebody
tie.
can
in
come
my-
back to here.
So if I had a child,
Yes.
they would not have, you know, rejected the visa. If I had a husband, they would not have rejected the visa.
Can I
So
say that's also the reason why a lot of parents actually leave their kids here?
Really?
Yes.
Yes. And when they want to japa.
When they want to go,
Because they
now
use those
eventually-
kids as the ties,
as the
and then they
ties,
still go
and
anyway.
they still go.
Absolutely.
And till today, they are finding it hard to actually reunite with those kids.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. So
So
true.
a lot of
You also
things.
mentioned a valid thing, Funlola, which is in the workplace. I know, oh my God, that's, I think, is one of the, I think it's
They will call
one
you
of
a
the major,
bitch.
yes, they'll call
Yeah.
you all sorts of
Yes.
names. It's because she doesn't have a man,
Yes.
you know, service high is why
Yes,
she's
yes,
grumpy.
yes, yes,
you know,
exactly.
that's why she's, you know, and stuff like that. So
Oh.
I have also seen a few of my friends who are,
Shiggy.
you know, oh Lord, you know, like you said, I once had a driver when I was single. And you know, you tell him to come and do certain things. Even when I got married, actually, I had a driver, and maybe my stature, I don't know, but if I told him to do something, he would hesitate. But when my husband says, "Go and get this done," you
Even
know,
if you are the one paying your driver by yourself from your pocket.
Yes. So what is it that is so threatening? What is it? Because do they feel like, okay, you are not married? Why does, for example, your staff? Why would your staff disrespect you because you're? I'm trying to find the correlation.
I like to think of it as society. We have this mindset that when everyone is going this way, we will go that way, so that, you know, this is what they believe in. Even if you are not convinced deep down that this thing actually makes any sense.
The outliers
You
have
know?
no place in this place.
So then they just follow that lane, and everyone, because take for example the driver who wouldn't actually respect you because you're a woman actually has some beliefs that
Well,
would
the
make
celebrity who said something about that with her driver. I can't remember.
I said what I said. Podcast.
Was it? I said yes, thank you, Jola.
She said something. I was like, okay,
yes, like seriously, I'm paying your salary.
I'm paying your salary, and you disrespect me for what reasons?
Yeah.
It's a very common. I mean, I know people that once, you know, I had a friend then that once I was into any issue,
Yes,
you know, that
you'd have to call
I would
them.
just call the person to come and, you know.
That's why marriage is
Sort
sort of like an accomplishment.
It
a lot
is
of
an
Africans.
accomplishment.
It is an
It is an accomplishment.
It is. With the high rate of divorce, with the domestic violence.
Do we want to go to that?
I guess that's story for another day.
That's story for another day.
But
Yes,
marriage
but
is
it's an accomplishment when you do it right, and I don't agree it's an accomplishment, by the way, because marriage is the only institution where you get a certificate before even doing the work. On day one, you get your certificate. What kind of accomplishment is where? So can you go to university and get a certificate on day one? That's why someone with a PhD will say that's an accomplishment. But then yes, I've been married for a while now,
That
and
is what
still,
the accomplishment
and
is.
now I think marriage
And
is
that
an
certificate is
ongoing.
that certificate is for
Certificate
That's
that you don't
where
even know.
you're
Thank
coming
you.
from. If that's where
I
you're
think
coming
marriage
from.
is I will call it an ongoing accomplishment.
Yes.
It's not an accomplishment period that I got married today and then you have accomplished something. You don't even know if you got married to your worst enemy or your worst nightmare.
I saw something strange yesterday. I think it was on Bella Niger, and you know, it was between this very rich guy and his newly wedded wife, and they were asking them questions about the recent accomplishment of the wife, and you know, they both wrote you know, what they believed was the recent accomplishment of the wife now, and you know, when they showed the placard, the answers, the man was like, a doctorate degree, question mark, or me, question mark. Do you know what the lady wrote?
Yes.
The guy The husband was her own, and she just bagged her doctorate.
Because that's what we're brought up
But
to.
sometimes, you see, and I also don't think that is.
And I think we're the ones contributing to that. That's what we're
because she lacks, ambition, or she doesn't. I mean, some people like being married. They enjoy being married.
And that's great.
They think that whatever they are able to achieve, it is,
because you are able to. You know how the Bible says one will chase 1,000.
Yes.
But that's when you marry the right person. Because I've tasted singlehood, especially mature single. So it wasn't like I married in my 20s. I married way well into my 30s. So I've tasted being single even in my 30s. Because if you're even in your 20s. Okay, you can join this conversation, but we're talking about people that are seeing shege, and you don't really start to see the shege until you're over 30. But yes, I understand that people in their 20s also still see. But I've tasted being married as well. But I can only say marriage is sweeter only because I know I'm married to someone who supports me, someone who sees me also as, who doesn't see me as a slave or who doesn't see me as his appendage, but someone who also sees me as a human being who wants to also accomplish her goals. And the unfortunate thing is, what is the percentage of people who are actually in that kind of situation? We don't know, and that's the honest truth.
We don't know, and I don't think that people should, be using touchlight to check.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, we should not assume.
And that's why I would not even call it an accomplishment, because we cannot touchlight is why I would not even call it an accomplishment period. For me. It is. Yes.
And we congratulate you. I can see that you
it was a day you were dreaming of all your life. What has changed? Do people respect you more now that you're married?
Okay, I think so.
Really?
Yes. So I think that, now if I'm talking to someone, I say, oh, my husband will
continue call you. Hey, you've been waiting to use that sentence.
The feelings out of this one. But there's something I use for myself.
What do you do when you need to use my husband?
I even tried to, because I got married late, so I'm too set.
Even let's not stop this late. Even that got married late. Who determines what is late?
What is not by?
It's society. And then obviously, I know with women, your ovaries too. Yes. I know that.
So no, it is okay. Even abroad, if someone is at 42 is late. Because I don't think about it.
Yes, they don't think about it as much as we do.
No. They don't put pressure.
Yes.
To get married.
Thank you.
But if someone got married at the age of 42, it is late.
Yes.
It is late marriage.
And I won't lie, a lot of doctors now also tell you, do it earlier because of your.
My children will get married at the age of 24.
You go and drag the man. You go and drag him.
I say this. Like Yabojo.
Yes.
Manifesting it. Yes.
I don't manifest.
Okay. I do.
So I'm not, I'm not saying that people should not see marriage as,
as a big deal. It is a big deal. I get it.
Yes. So we should not say that, because I got married late, I should not, or I should.
Why should I be treated less than a human? Because that's what I think. That's the bone of contention here. I don't mind you jubilating that you are married. It's good for you, fantastic. But why do we treat people? Because I've seen a real life situation where they ask somebody to stand up because she's single, for a married person to sit down. Real life, I saw it. I'm telling you, stand up. Let's.
I said that.
Yeah, I kind of use what's it called? I use stature.
You even have good stature. You have a married woman stature.
So that's what I use.
People like me, even as
I use it a lot. Yes, so I
overuse
it.
You don't have a fake ring you wear.
No, I don't.
I know someone who wears a fake ring.
Me that was very set in our ways before getting married. Yes. I'm not going to lie that it is very difficult for me, to adjust to some things, because I'm actually used to, because you cannot cheat me, you cannot shout at me, you cannot call me, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I am used to doing things, in my own ways, and like she said, I've been able to develop mechanism, to cope against,
yes,
things that that may come to. So it's sometimes difficult for me to say that, I have a husband, that should be talking to that plumber, or that should be talking to that carpenter, or that should be talking to,
Absolutely. And I mean, let's look at some of because we can look at some of the issues or some of the things that people say to you, because I think most times it starts from the family. The pressure starts from the family before you even get, and I think that if we're insulated within, because I think that's what I enjoyed. My mom and dad never said, when are you going to get married? But it's when you go, it's more my extended family, going to all those December parties where your cousins come, your cousins that are younger than you are getting married, or maybe your niece is now getting married and it's like, no, I do. So that kind of helped me. So even when people on the outside said things that were disparaging.
Do you know, 16 years ago, 16 years ago,
16.
my cousin was getting married. She's just a year older than me. You know, she was getting married. And I had a relationship that I just broke then, that my grandmother knew the person, you know. So everybody was expecting that, oh, as she was getting married, I too will be getting married. Yeah. So I remember what my grandmother said. You know, each time I remember, I just laughed.
16
you
years.
know, 16 years ago. So she said, oh, everybody else came with their fiancés and their husbands.
Yes.
You didn't come with your own. So you can imagine how she never said anything, you know, to me after that. She didn't used to, I mean, except, you know, I believe that sometimes when people talk about things like that, it's from a good place. You know, when they ask you that, you know,
where is your husband? Because they know it can be lonely sometimes.
Yes. So, you know, you can imagine what must have been going through.
Year on year, you still come back to those family events and still with nobody.
But I like what Ronnie is trying to do. It's just for us to speak up against it.
Absolutely.
Justice for single,
I was,
people, right? Because, it's
people
good to be married. But it's also good to be single and take your time. Because while you're single, you're prioritizing, you're actually doing the checks and just trying to know what's right for you. It's actually a process. Like you said, which one is Miss Marry?
Because that's why a lot of single people now go and mismarry.
You cannot determine who you will marry.
Exactly. No,
you just, I mean, yes, you can. But then you cannot determine how the outcome will be.
Yes. True.
So
but what I mean is that when your values align, see, there are some people that I could have been. Is it that you think that we were not, we didn't find, you know, or we were not seen men? No, we did. We did. So, but when your values are not aligned, you know,
don't say because you're a certain age.
Hurry, you know, to just red flags for real.
Yes. I just want to marry someone. Like no.
Absolutely.
I read a very touching story of a lady on Dank yesterday who got married at 24. And you know, when they were about to get married, they went for this fertility test.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't. I saw
that. Wait, tell me the story.
I read to the end though, because I was sad.
Tell me the end. Yes.
So, you know, when they went for the fertility test, I came back fine. Her husband didn't. It had low, I think zero.
No sperm.
No sperm at all. He couldn't produce. So, but then she loved him, and so she married him. And then, you know, they got married, and he invited her to come to the UK to stay, and that was where everything shattered. And you know, he started to beat her up. Beating was not like beating. And then I think the one that broke the camel's back for her was when you know, he shattered the glass on her head, and that then
immediately.
She, you know, after several IVF. So, you know, I don't know what changed, because definitely they must have had something.
See, that kind of man, imagine if she was the one that had the fertility issue.
Yes.
It will never stay.
And there are a lot of, because I know even churches, they'll say, oh, women come out, you want to have children. We need to see more men coming out, because a lot of fertility issues are for men.
So someone, you know, I know someone whose story is almost like, So the guy, she was 28 when she got married to, or 26 when she got married to the man. And after about 2 years of trying, the guy was 10 years older. After about 2 years of trying, you know, they discovered that the guy did not have anything.
Wow.
Like zero, not redeemable, you know. So, and they went to see a doctor, a neurologist, and the person said, oh, it will only take God for you to conceive. You know, to conceive. This man took it very literal, you know, like, oh, okay, it will only take God. So he was going to church, you know. And there was nothing wrong with her. I think they said that one of her tubes, you know, was blocked or something. But nothing major, you know. And it could have cost her less than 300,000 naira. Getting a sperm donor and doing IUI, you know, and getting, you know, to complete your family. Nobody will know.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yes.
But the guy agreed.
This guy said no. Now, 12 years after, she's now 40 years old. Even our own chances of getting
pregnant
is
super low. And that's the thing. That's the
and so I don't know why people cannot advocate for themselves.
And that's why.
You know, this lady lost her fallopian tube due to
she's an idiot. I don't even pity her.
Who?
I pity her,
well.
I cannot
the lady
pity
on
her.
Dank, yes, the lady on
okay.
Dank, she's not like, can I take back my
I
7
see.
years
Ah,
from
well,
him? Can I
unfortunately,
take back
yes.
So
She's
that's
my
like,
friend
in your
too, 12 years.
20s, I mean, we should actually
She's even my
advocate
friend,
standing
you know.
up for yourself.
I think that's even, I mean, we talked about fertility,
Yes.
but no, back to being single. I think it should be nobody's business what someone's marital status
Yes.
is. Whether you think it should be somebody's.
It is not.
It's
But
not
unfortunately,
exactly. Yeah, so that's why we're having this conversation. It should be nobody's. You should be able to just address you, and that's why. In fact, this happened recently. There was a lady. In fact, it was Dupe Olushola.
Yeah.
I love her. Everyone knows I love her very much. So there was a time I probably do that to women, especially women who are married. I want to see what their triggers are. I now said, Miss, so let me educate people today. MISS is when you're single.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know why they are demarcating, when they don't demarcate for a man. I don't know who is married here and who is not behind these cameras because they are Mr.
Yes.
Or a Miss, a woman, MISS. When she's mature and not married, is MS, that's Miss. When she's married, is MRS, that's Mrs. So sometimes because I don't know somebody's marital, I'll say Miss Dolakpo.
Yes.
That's how somebody came into my whatever. It is Mrs.
Oh,
You know, wait, hold on.
I've seen that before.
like-
I've seen that before.
You have happened to you where you call MTN customer service or your bank customer service. You know, say, how do we address you?
Yeah,
Mrs. or Miss? And I'm
Imagine,
like,
thank you.
Okay.
Just
I don't
address
want
me,
to say the
thank you.
F word,
Please, yes.
I mean, like, what's your
Yes,
business?
so I realized
My
that
name
even a
is
lot of
Lola, my
married
name
people
is
think that
Lola.
even a lot of married women think
But
they are
like I
better than
said,
single women.
Yeah.
A lot of married
Because-
women
so
feel they are
think
better
that-
than
they
single
think
women.
that they were good enough or
Yes,
they are good
to
enough
have been picked.
to have been picked you know, by a
Pygmies.
man. So people think that if we are not married, that there's something
I've
wrong.
seen
There must be
situations
something
where
wrong.
they say,
Well done.
so don't call me
You
by
know,
my
that's why
name
I don't-
again. Now start, yes,
calling me
now.
Mrs.
You
What?
start, you start calling me.
I don't even want
Mommy,
anybody to call
thank
me
you.
Mrs.
Mommy, this
Thank you,
or
yes,
Mrs.
tell me that.
And that's even when they've been
Can't see
friends.
some people on their social media bio, they write
Mrs.
Kiddy
Kidiko's
Kiddy
wife.
Kiddy.
Yes.
Let me shatter this
Yes.
table with Dr.
Shatter.
Mrs.
Do-
Dr. Mrs.
Doctor is even
How did
okay.
it get
Doctor,
there?
you,
Dr.
I mean,
Mrs.
that's
You
what I'm saying.
earned it.
At least
So
now
you
you
needed
earn that.
to-
This one you're still earning. Marriage, who told you that your 10-year-old marriage isn't going to be, it's still going to be there
Babe,
next
they'll say,
tomorrow.
how do I address
You
you?
are still earning. And that's
I'm
why I
like,
keep
yes,
saying
sir.
anyone who's happily married will never tension somebody who's single. Because you know what is by warfare every day. Living with this person, knowing this person, you just never know. There are people who have been married 15 years and they call it quits. So if you're
Yes.
married and you're happy, you know that a lot of workings is going behind it. So you would never look at a single person and say you're not. Because who told you your own marriage is going to last another 2 months? Nobody. So that's why when I see married people who tension single, I know they're unhappy. They are beating each other.
Okay.
Because if you are really happy, you know how much grace, how
Yes.
much work goes into being married.
Yes.
That you want that for somebody else and you want them to be happy. But it's the unhappy ones that
That
tension
is
people.
this.
And you appreciate them where they are.
Thank
and
you.
just
So that's
help
why I
them
say
to
it's
go,
not an
yes.
achievement.
Yes.
It is something you are achieving daily
Every
because
day.
it can crash. So
Yeah.
it's an achievement, but it can crash tomorrow. But your
It will not
your
crash.
diploma,
It will not
amen,
crash.
will not crash in
Amen.
Jesus' name.
It won't
But your
crash.
PhD, you have achieved it. You have
Yes.
done the work. So somebody who dropped out of their PhD, will you say is an achievement? So what would you say? Marriage is a long-standing. Is at the end, I'll determine
Like I
if he was
said,
happy.
see, people think that when you're not married, you know,
You have a bad
How do we
character.
change
you have a
that?
so and they would.
And I know
See,
some of
your
the
own-
best
your,
ladies.
See,
Oh,
your
gosh.
your weakness will
Yes.
now be magnified.
Yes.
Do you get it?
Yes.
Oh,
Exactly. That's why
very
she's not
proud.
married. She's
very proud.
Yes, I remember
Oh,
when.
she's
Yes,
very-
I remember when I was single because I was very mouthy. And I'm
Yes.
still very mouthy.
And
I'm very open. Yes,
you.
and it's
That's why she's not married. Yes.
You know, we hear
you
all-
cannot keep a man. You are too haughty. Which man will put someone like you?
Meanwhile, I know people who have been married for 20 years. They've never swept their house before. They don't clean or boom. They
Is it
are very
clean?
rude.
Wait, is
But
it that
everyone has their own
people
person.
That cleaning is
Yes.
the people character wise. People who are very, 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 they are not supportive.
Yes.
They are not, you know, sometimes I would look at myself and like,
Moda Jenny in-law.
I can cook.
I can clean ocean.
Like,
Where's material?
yes, everything.
Why am I
you know,
not married?
Why am I not married?
But I think that we should actually be climbing to the stage whereby we start to give single people the room to actually grow and take their time, because with the
Yes, the
with
pressure.
number and the rate
That's
of
why the divorce and
There is
domestic
nothing
violence.
to
For some people,
actually-
let me just be honest. I remember when I was 29. Oh my goodness. I felt as if rapture was going to happen.
Well,
I
you
know
know
that
you
you knew
clocked
me
30.
then. Okay, do you know? Okay, we didn't know each other then.
Okay.
I was like, this 30 must not meet me single.
Are you
oh.
serious?
And yes, I know
not
what. Let me,
serious.
I was like, no, and funny enough, it wasn't like they were putting pressure on me, but I was just like, oh my God, because I've always said when I was younger that I want to have all my children before I turn 30.
Hey,
I want to. So, I mean, at that time, you know, some people may have noticed, I was dating somebody then, I was like, hey, please, ask me. Ask me. And he eventually asked me, but after he asked me to marry him, I just knew in my spirit that, hey, I'd rather see I've entered this 30. Life did not come to an end. And that's why I want every 30-plus girl to tell yourself, life is not going to end because you are 30-plus and you're single.
No.
Trust. Take your time. Trust me, because I've tasted mature singleness and I've tasted being married, and I know that, trust me, you will forget all of those lonely days. You forget all of these things that's putting pressure on you to get, because who's asking me now who they carry last? Who's asking who carry last? You know, so I want us as a society to do better. But anyway, it's an interesting conversation and I'm loving it, but we're going to do our agree or disagree segment. These stories we've heard so far are just deeply personal and sadly all too common. We'll continue unpacking them after this quick break, and when we return, we'll bring you our life hack of the day, helping you live smarter every single day. And right after that, we'll move into our agree or disagree segment. So we'll see you in a moment. Wow, welcome back. One of these days we have to show you behind the scenes, you know, footage of some of the things we get up to when you're watching the break. Because I mean, this topic I think is opened something in all of us here, and you know, it's something that we've dealt with firsthand. And I was talking to you guys earlier about how even single people will mock you. Yes. When you're a certain age. I remember I was working in an organization, and these girls that were maybe like about 6 years younger than me, it wasn't even as if they were 20 years younger. And these come here, auntie, never marry. And it's, I hate saying it, but now one of them is in her 30s, and she's not married. And I'm like, wow, how does it feel? It's not easy. How can you don't even know your projection of your own future. You are mocking somebody else that they are not. Anyway, our agree or disagree segment is going to give glory to God. But there are people who are in their 40s and still are not married. And I want them to know that, look, live your life. But let's take an agree or disagree question. If it's your thing. Yeah. Here's a question on the agree or disagree segment. Society treats single men and single women differently, and it's unfair. Society treats single men and single women very differently, and it's unfair. Do you agree or disagree, Dolapo? You agree? You'd agree? Okay, I agree. Okay, Funla, let's start with you.
Okay, so like the first example that I mentioned, that someone was 42 years old, a man, and he was not married, you know, people were already starting to say that, oh, this is also a red flag. Yes. You know, this is a red flag. But we don't know the reason why the person, I have a brother who is, how old is he now? Maybe 42. Yes. And he's not married. You know, different things could be the reason. Yes. You know, maybe the person lost the person that they were supposed to get married to, and they are finding it difficult to. You know, because men are very, and I know people will say that, oh, you are irresponsible, you are sleeping around, even for men.
Yes.
You know, you are sleeping around, you are irresponsible, you don't want to marry.
You're dating married men.
No, I'm talking about
for men.
Okay. For men, you say that, oh, maybe you are sleeping around, or maybe the person is stingy, you know, the person is controlling. So it's
Yeah, really.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I know that, yeah, there are men who face this. I know on Twitter as well, people are like, a man that's over 40 that's not married is a walking red flag.
Yes,
You
yes,
know, and
yes.
it's just that sometimes it's the case for men, some of men I know, when they're over 40, is either they have commitment issues, you know, and they're quite enough. But I understand too that there are men just like the ones you mentioned.
If you are saying that for men,
Yes.
that it's because they lack commitment
Yes.
issue. So do you agree when people say that women too? Some
No.
women wait, that some women, the reason why they are not married, you know, or they are not married even at advanced age is because
they're
they are picky.
Some women I've seen,
Oh,
but it's
please.
okay to be picky. No, it's okay to be picky.
So
I think it's okay. When someone tells you are picky, please tell them, yes,
Yes,
I am picky.
yes,
And
yes.
it's okay. So I know
you
a
want me
lot of
to-
women that have been
I used
picky.
to tell them that you want me to pick
Yes,
someone
thank you.
like
Not to just pick weed. So
I
yes.
appreciate gay.
You know, so that's my point. So I feel like, yes, a lot of women are picky.
Yeah.
Is why they just ended up, because I now find that some of them, when they're in their 30s, late 30s, they will oftentimes marry people that normally, if not the situation, are not going to deal with this man.
yeah,
But you know what? As you grow and you mature, some of those, he must be tall, dark, and handsome, start to fall off. And you realize that, look, I just want a kind man.
But sometimes some people
Exactly.
get lucky, you know.
Some people get like you, Miss Bravo. You married your spec. Now you'd have married at 20. Hey-oh. Not very many women can say that, you know. So for me, I agree that society treats men differently. They call a man, for example, like
Zaddy.
yes, Zaddy, who's even aging. Society treats us as women differently. When you're aging, it's like, go and sit down. But a man is like, oh, he's a Zaddy. Look at this Farouk Korea guy, Ojide Oba guy. Is he single?
The older he
Is he single? He's single, right?
He's single, but he had been married 3 times or so.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a red flag.
So yeah, but anyway, that's my point. People do, and I think it is unfair. I think that it should be no one's business. If someone's, in fact, we should remove MRS. I know Fulola likes the misses. Let's remove it.
See, I don't even use I sometimes
Let's remove it. Just like a mister is a mister.
Appreciate the fact that you are in a marriage.
Yes,
Yes,
you
that's
like
it.
that.
So,
Yes.
that's it.
I mean, if men are just mister, women
I mean,
should
I
just
like
be
my
miss.
husband, and I like
Miss, whether
him.
you marry or not, be a miss. Nobody
I
should
think
care.
it's too late for
Why
that.
do people?
But
Okay.
anyways.
Because it's unfair. It's not too
Say
late.
that, you
We
know,
can
how to readdress you.
Okay.
What's your business with
Call my
addressing me?
name.
Thank
I
you
like
for
running.
me.
Running will be like, I'm running.
Yes, that's the thing. Don't come and Mrs. me. Don't come and auntie me.
Yes.
You know, call me Ronnie. And I do that across because I decide that when I get married, I'm going to also really stand for people who are single, because I saw so much from single
doing
people,
well at that.
from younger people who forgot that they'll become older one day. You know, from pardon?
A lot of
Nobody.
people don't know that I'm married. So some people still want to treat me with their
disrespect. You call your husband.
But like you said,
Yeah.
I have my own mechanism of dealing with, you know, issues like that.
Yeah. And I wish, we have our wise words, but some mechanism I would say is, I want time I just to tell people off. If you tell me, at time when I was single, if you tell me, oh, you're not married, there was them I told somebody, well, you're not dead. It was someone that's much older. Well, you're not dead.
Oh my.
You know, you're not married. You're at your age. You're not dead at your age. You know, sometimes some people you just need to give them, or else they're just always going to make you depressed. There's some people I know who are depressed because of the different talk and
but
things that people say about them.
matters because it depends on the situation when you're trying to get something and the person is like, you're single. What if I'm not? What if I'm not? Why do you assume I am?
Absolutely.
I may not be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
and I hope that laws, for example, like visa laws will also be looked into for women who are single and who choose to be single. Not everybody wants to get married, and we all need to recognize that. I have a friend who is not interested in getting married or having children.
Shege out there.
Exactly.
I think it's
Some
going
people
to be the new thing for women to love themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, love yourself whether you're single or married. All right, we got our wise words on the web, and it says, singlehood is an opportunity to live life on your own terms and not apologize. You owe nobody an apology. Mandy Hale, thank you very much for that. It's an opportunity to live life, but a lot of us are not living, but just counting, when am I going to get married? And you don't know that you are losing your years.
Go for the holidays.
Go on holiday, go out with friends, find your other single friends.
Buy whatever cars you want to buy, buy a house, do whatever you want to do.
Do whatever you want in your, during the time you're single. Because when marriage comes and children come, truly is a big distraction on its own. And it really is tougher to achieve your purpose and your goals. So, that was an interesting conversation. One we need to keep having, to be honest. And in our homes our places of worship, in churches, mosques. Hey, you people are also one of the big facilitators of, you know, making single women feel as if they have diseases. Even in policy rooms, women, we must stick up when we're in the places where we can make laws. Let's speak up. You are married now, but you know what it means to being a single person. And they're making laws that are making single people look as if they have issues or that will not allow them to live their best life. Women, learn to speak up in rooms like that. And of course, on platforms like this, you know, being single is not a crime and certainly not a reason to be denied dignity, opportunity, or shelter, whether by choice or circumstance. Every woman deserves respect. Period. Thank you for joining us on The Big Conversation. I'm Runke Giwa Onofua. And remember, the conversation doesn't end here. Keep talking, keep listening, and keep challenging the status quo. Fantastic guest today, Omodolakpo Jayola. Thank you so much for coming and speaking to this conversation. It's been an amazing edition of The Big Conversation.
Thank you for having me.